Hey there, Jenny fans! It's been an awfully long while actually since we last did a box opening and review video. I've been awfully busy, but I've arrived home from work and you have to excuse me without a stitch of makeup on, but I have really just come back from driving to Portishead and back. I've got here this lovely parcel and, well, drum roll please. Yeah, that's close enough. Right. Now, what's in here? I actually do know what's in here. At least I hope I know what's in here. But you're seeing this opened at the same time as me. Aren't you very lucky? No, you're not. Right. I do hate it when they do this. So we'll stick your receipt cleverly over the bit of the box you have to cut to open. Here we are, in the bubble wrap. Somewhere. Still in the cellophane. What we can see there is we've got 31-760 NRM, and this is the Great Northern Railway Atlantic Class C1, number 251, and that's in Great Northern Railway Lined Green, produced exclusively for the National Railway Museum. This has been quite long awaited. I paid up front in full for this, so I got free postage. So I do like to support what the Railway Museum are doing with these models. But we can see there, slightly newer, more personalised style box that the National Railway Museum is going for. The actual model railway commissioning and shop side of the business is based at Locomotion in Shildon. Been there quite a few times. We've done a video actually about my visits there. But that's actually a lighter blue sleeve there. So it's quite obvious when you pull out the inner sleeve, you can see the normal Bachmann colour on there. And we can see here, it's the standard Bachmann packaging. Just got the maintenance instructions in there. Put that again to one side. Let's see, what have we got in here? Oh, I should probably slide that out first. It's been so long since I've bought a brand new Bachmann locomotive that I've almost forgotten how the packaging works. Now that is quite tight in there. There we go. Right, now we can see we've got all the extra little bits in here. We've got fire irons, some parts for in the tender by the look of it, brake rigging, vacuum standpipes for probably front and back. Looking in there, as is usual with a lot of these Bachmann models, half the stuff that's in the detail pack to be added by the end user, nobody quite knows where it's supposed to go. Right, we can see here the locomotive itself, and it is ready attached, so we've got to be careful lifting that out because the tender is attached by a wire to the locomotive. So again, we're going to put that to one side, and what we can see here is the full locomotive. This is the Ivet C1 Class Atlantic. It's got a 442 wheel arrangement. We can see that there on the base there, and this is a wheel arrangement that I don't think, in fact I'm pretty certain that Bachmann haven't done before. Now I'm going to try and turn this over without damaging it. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a look on the underside, and what's immediately obvious is we've got pickups on the tender wheels, but I can see down there actually some of those metal strips aren't actually in contact with the wheels, so that's a little adjustment that I'm going to have to do certainly before it runs. Let's bend that up. No, they're still not touching. And what we can see there is actually the coal load does come out. It's a slightly cast weight there. And I can see actually why some of the vents for the water tank are separate fitted items, because they would fit through the holes on that. But we can see we've got all-wheel pickup, four-wheel pickup on the tender. They need adjusting. But there's also quite interesting on the rear pony truck. It looks like we've got some kind of spring arrangement there, certainly, and maybe even an electrical pickup. I'm not seeing any electrical pickups on the front bogie. That's not to say that there aren't any there, but no, it doesn't look like there are. And then obviously we'll have the pickup on the four main driving wheels. Yeah, those pickups are actually quite nicely sprung against the wheels, so they don't need adjusting. It's just going to be needing to adjust one of the contacts on the tender. Now it's a very, very close together set of wheels, and when this locomotive was announced, a lot of people did discuss the fact that there's going to have to be a compromise there, because on the real locomotive these wheels were actually ever so close, and by nature of 00, we've got the compromise with the wheel flanges, that they're bigger than they would be if they were exactly to scale, because we want it to actually stay on the track. So I suspect that these wheels are slightly further apart than they would be on the real thing. Saying that, the actual wheel flanges on those main driving wheels are very, very fine. Be interesting to see how well this runs. I expect it probably will run incredibly well, as all these locomotives generally do. But they're actually a lot finer by the look of it than I've seen on any other ready-to-run Bachmann locomotives. Now, I'm just going to show you on the front. Let's just make sure we get that nicely done there. On the front, the smoke box actually does open. So you can see there, we haven't got sprung buffers, but we do have an opening smoke box door, and this is something that looks to be incredibly delicate. So in all honesty, what I've done with previous locomotives that have this gimmick is I put some rubber cement, just very, very lightly. You don't need to flood the thing with it, just enough that when you close that it stays closed, so it won't bounce open and get caught, because I can see that that could very easily get broken off. There is some representation in there of the detail of the blast pipe arrangement, and also the where all the tubes and the superheated tubes come through the boiler, but obviously they don't actually match up with the bottom of the funnel there. So to be honest, it's not something that most people would ever bother looking at. I mean, it's an interesting touch, but I know a lot of people have said that probably does add a little bit to the actual production costs of these models. But that said, certainly for such an unusual prototype, I don't think we'd have ever seen anything like this from Bachmann if it hadn't have been the National Railway Museum that's taken it upon themselves to commission this model. The full-sized original locomotive that this is based on is of course at the National Railway Museum, and this is represented very neatly and cleanly in the Great Northern Railway sort of apple green, a kind of a precursor to the LNER apple green, I suspect. And we've got some very fine lining here. We can see on the tender frames and the outside frames of the trailing pony truck. Very nicely applied, very sharply applied. Again, looking at the lettering, we've got the relief picked out on the letters in a variety of different colours as per the original prototype. Now, all in all, this looks to be a pretty fabulous model. We've got some very finely picked out detail on the backplate in the cab, and also I can see here, threatening to be broken at any moment, we have a very fine tender fall plate there. I'm going to just, there we are, bend that up, which is pretty superb, and it's actually made out of very, very thin metal. It does look very, very fine. In fact, if we couple these up, the tender fall plate actually does fall and sit perfectly on the tender. That's probably the first time I've seen that properly modelled there on any locomotive, where there isn't actually a strange gap. Well, there is a gap underneath, but the fall plate does actually cover the gap, which is pretty nice in there. Now we've got a representation underneath the removable coal load of pretty much an empty bunker there. So you could add your own crushed real coal if you so desired, or just leave it as it is to model a locomotive that's perhaps getting close to the end of its day's run and in need of being refueled. There is representation of coal just down there. So all in all, I'd give this model, well, certainly from visual aspects alone, I'd give this model a 9.5 out of 10. As for value for money, yeah, certainly so. It is expensive, but prices across the board are rising quite steeply at the moment, and we have to factor into that as a special limited edition commissioned release, it's always going to be slightly more expensive than standard catalogue models. That said, the inflationary pressures pushing up on the price of models coming from China is such that probably within the lifetime of this model being available at the National Railway Museum, we're going to see the cost of newer models coming from Bachmann actually probably be more expensive than this. So, very fine model here. We're going to do another video at some point when I've finished my week's work and subject to getting the time to do it, and we're going to do another part of this review where we're going to actually run it. At the moment it's late tonight, I've come back from work, I've got to go to bed for another day's work, so we're not going to get a chance to run it. That's not really a problem. The last thing, however, in fact no, not the last thing, it's worth pointing out at this point that as well as the Great Northern Railway livery that you see here, this locomotive is available exclusively through the National Railway Museum in a number of other liveries. It's available in its London and North Eastern Railway apple green livery, quite similar to the Great Northern Railway livery, but I am a sucker for pre-grouping liveries. It's also available in its plain British Railways liveried guise, and that is available in both a weathered version and unweathered version, so you've got a bit of a choice there. You pay about a £10 premium for the weathered version over the unweathered version, and actually, to be honest with you, every single one of these models looks pretty good, and if money was no object I'd have probably bought one of each, but money is an object, so I've gone just with the pre-grouping liveried version. Now the very last thing that I'd like to show you here is a little leaflet that came with it. And this is for the Railway Museum's next OO gauge special commission, and this actually is the Stirling single. And there's been a little bit of speculation over the last few weeks on what the next model would be. And I'd like to say, I told you so, because I suggested either this or the improved Precedent Class Hardwick. In fact, to the point where I mentioned about the different tenders that the Stirling single has carried in preservation, and true to that, on the back, on the order form, we've got it available with the Sturrock tender, which is the tender that it was paired with for preservation, or available with the original stroke current tender. So I was right on all counts. So just a little bit of something there. This is a special commission from Rapido Trains. Now that does look good. We're looking at a price of around £200 for that, so a little bit more expensive than this. But that said, the Stirling single, it's a type of locomotive that really, in all honesty, I don't think you'd ever see in ready-to-run form otherwise. So it's certainly one that I will be paying close attention to, and to try and make up my mind which of those two versions I'd actually want to go for. Anyway, hope this box opening and review video has been very informative for you. Don't forget to like this video, share it too. This model, as well as the other models we've talked about, are all available from the National Railway Museum, and if you have a good search for their site on Google, that's pretty easy to find, and you can find these models available to buy from there. Plus also you can walk into either the National Railway Museum in York or the National Railway Museum in Shildon, and they will have all the versions of these available for sale until they sell out. And I suspect that some of these will sell out, certainly the pre-grouping livery such as this one. Going on past record of these releases, it's going to sell out pretty quick, so if you want one, get in there pretty quick. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You'll be first to know about new videos as and when they come up. And you take very good care of yourself. This is me, Jenny Kirk, saying until next time, when we're going to do a running review video of this locomotive, you take very good care of yourself, and bye for now.